Hello, friends and beautiful people. It is Kathryn and I'm, 5D Visionary, Elevated Consciousness Coach, and the lady with crazy hair. Hello. Today, I wanted to come and deliver this kind of inspired chat about anchoring and getting into alignment with the new Earth timeline. Say hello, let me know who's here. Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Chantel. I just love, love, love the artwork that you've been sharing, Chantel. It's really lovely, really inspiring. So, who here is feeling the intensity of this energy, like it just keeps on building and building and building, and we thought maybe, okay, or we're thinking that maybe this is reaching a crescendo, but it just keeps building and building and building. And it is making us kind of feel all over the place. It's making us feel real random, right? Hi, Jonte. Like, who just feels all over the place right now? Hey, Chantel. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. First of all, I feel you. I'm there too. Oh, we got lots of people. Hi, Mary. Got lots of people joining. Hi, Jonna. Hello. Nice. So here's the deal. And maybe some of you have thought about this, but there wasn't something that's like concretized in your thinking about it just yet. But, you know, the last 12 plus months was an energetic reset for the planet. And anything that we feel here, by the way, it ripples out past the planet Earth's magnetosphere and informs the cosmos. Anytime any planet has an upgrade, star system, galaxy, whatever, has an upgrade or downgrade, it informs the rest of the cosmos because we are, it is my firm belief, part of a cosmic hologram. So what we're feeling ain't just on planet Earth, but what we do here to anchor these new energies and move into alignment with them has a lot to do with how we can positively impact, you know, the rest of the star systems and galaxies and planets and planetoids and etc., which is really exciting. And this is really important to anchor into right now because when we get in these super intense energies, we tend to contract and go into ego, and we work off a really finite energy grid, which is what I'm going to talk about here. And when we're in that really limited, contracted sphere of reference and vantage point, we tend to stop thinking about ourselves as limitless. We stop thinking about ourselves as seamless in terms of our thread of energy that creates the cosmos as a whole. We think like, I'm just worried about how I'm going to pay my bills. I'm worried about how I'm going to get through this next month. I'm worried about how my relationship is just on the rocks and it's not moving or shifting, or how I feel about being in my body feels really different and uncomfortable right now. We contract to all of this self-realization. And we stop thinking about how this affects our individual efforts to nuance and deal with these energies, how this affects the collective, and not just the collective of this planet, but the collective truly of the cosmos. Even shifting to that vantage point. Well, how am I feeling right now about my life? How is this affecting the rest of this planet, the rest of the cosmos? And some of you might feel removed from that because like, well, what does that have to do with me? It has everything to do with you. And this is exactly part of, hi Tammy, this is exactly part of being in alignment with the new Earth timeline that we are anchoring. This massive reset on this planet is a catalyzing of the new Earth timeline being set into place, meaning we had to clear away the debris, the detritus, the contraction, the convoluted energy and misguided energy of the old Earth timeline in order to lay down the foundation even of a new one. You know, we feel stretched really thin right now as a planet, and on an individual level for sure, because we haven't figured out yet, or I have, that's why I teach what I teach about timelines, is that we're stretched really thin. It's like a little bit of butter stretched over a huge piece of bread. We just feel like we feel thin, we feel transparent, we don't feel fortified and resilient in our bodies because we are stretched over many, many different timelines. And many timelines which are holding energies of the old earth, the old paradigms, the old structures, the old systems. And the reason why we feel so random is because we're trying to tether ourselves to this new timeline, which feels good and expansive and full of love and possibilities and potentials and growth and new ways of being that we've only dreamt about or fantasized about before. So here we are putting some of our energy in that grid. But then right on the heels of that, we bounce back into this old thinking of, but it can never be that way because look at what's still going on planet Earth. Look at the way people still are. Look at this massive divide between intentions to want to have a unified Earth and some people who just want to be keepers of the old guard. Look at all this stuff. So the second we go into that expansion, what we're doing is we're going into the universal energy matrix, which is an infinite grid of resources, potentials, possibilities. I call it the sphere of all possibilities. If you've worked with me before in my Timelines class and other classes that I've taught, preparation for physical ascension, we have the sphere of all possibilities, which we can quantum jump into. We can connect with our future self through the solar plexus into the sphere of all possibilities, and it feels really good to connect with that. The problem is we are still tethering so much of our identity, our personal reality, who we think we are, to this other grid. And this is a finite grid, meaning it has an exhaustible supply of energy. And when that exhaustible supply of energy gets used up and depleted, we start pulling from our human. We start pulling from the ego self-identity. And we pull from our trauma. We pull from our trauma. We pull from our dramas and events and experiences that have kept us truncated and contracted in our thinking and our believing for so long. And not just this lifetime, but many lifetimes. In this lifetime right now, we are what I call in a culmination timeline. We're wrapping up so much of our 3D identity of who we've been lifetime after lifetime coming to this planet for thousands of years. Many of you here on this call identify with being an old soul. That doesn't mean that you've been here for thousands of years. It means that you've been here for millions of years. And so those of you who identify as being old souls, you're really going to feel this shift in energetics right now as you culminate into this timeline and wrap up the many, many 3D timelines and levels of exploration that your soul has asked to experience here when you came to 3D density. And it's like, it's almost like trying to hold the energy of all of this in a shot glass. You know, it's like, I use this analogy often. It's like trying to hold the energy of Niagara Falls in a shot glass. Because we're not letting ourselves expand past the self, the ego identity, which is tethered to a finite grid and exhaustible supply of energy. So we're trying to do the things that are aligned with expansion from a really, really limited realm of resources and a sphere of reference. Literally, we are in a veil to what is possible, to what the potentials are that are right at the tip of our nose. But here we are behind this veil, and we're only right here. And it's like we literally have blinders on and we can't see what's past that. This is going to be uncomfortable for you in your body. And we're all feeling that, right? And I feel so inspired to have people really understand that this last year and a half has been an energetic, we hit the energetic reset button on this planet. It's like planet Earth take two. It really is. And it's not that we're just bringing in or hoping to usher in the new earth timeline. We are in it, but we haven't anchored it yet. And like I talk about ascension and I talk about unity consciousness as a tipping point of mass consciousness that takes 51%. That's all it takes, 51% of the population to tip mass consciousness towards ascension, to tip mass consciousness towards unifying the planet. So we're living in a more joyful, happy, egalitarian existence. Okay? All it takes is 51%. But here's the thing. We aren't the collective without us being individuals feeding that grid, feeding that perspective, right? So whatever we're not looking at, trying to hide away from, and we're Chicken Little mode where we're saying the sky is falling, but we don't want to look at our stuff. We don't want to look at why we feel the sky is falling, meaning we don't want to look at key areas of our life where it's informing us of, I'm scared. I'm afraid to move forward. I'm maybe afraid of growth. I may be afraid of knowing who I really am and the power I really hold when I'm in connection with my soul being. It is time for us to look at this stuff. And if we have any hope at all to anchoring this new timeline in a way where we can stabilize these frequencies and keep it, we have to look at our own shit. And we have to look at ourselves, our personal identity through the filters of key areas of our lives. So that's why I'm teaching in alignment. Hi, Pamela. Really what we need to do, what we are required to do, to not only anchor this new earth timeline and stabilize these energies so we can keep it in place, we need to look at the key areas of our lives where we create our identity from. This is our human and soul connection. This is a partnership. This is a dance. It is this divine choreography. You are never not your human, and you are never not your soul. So why do we treat them as separate entities? Why do we treat them as things that maybe we, in some convoluted way, we think one informs the other, but we haven't created this full handshake yet, where they're living in this flow with each other? Because here's the thing about the New Earth timeline. It is about flow. 5D is a flow state. A while ago, I posted a post about fractals in the flow state. When you look at fractals, the movement of fractals, this can help you on a visual level anchor the idea of what a flow state really is and the holographic nature of reality all at once, which definitely becomes more of our spiritual truth as we anchor in the energetics of 5D. You are either in flow or you are in resistance to that flow. And another way to say that is you are in alignment with pure source energy and the new energetics, anchoring that in the physical here on the 3D plane. You're either in flow with that new translation of flow here in 3D, or you are out of alignment with source. You are resisting it. You're creating barriers for yourself. And even in the effort that you put forth to not look at something, to be in denial or self-deception about an area of your life that needs your attention, that needs a spotlight shown on it, that is resistance. And you get to decide. This is what is so wonderful and such a beautiful invitation from the higher power that really, really is offering us up this choice right now. Do you want to be in flow? Do you want to be in alignment? Or do you want resistance? And it's not, we don't get to play the victim anymore and go into 5D. Those energetics are mutually exclusive and they cancel each other out. There is no victim mentality in 5D. There is no karma in 5D. Karma, not in the sense of cause and effect, but karma in the sense of taking things from your ancestral lineage, from your DNA coding that is lesser than your divine human energetic. It creates almost like a force field that boots you out of 5D and back down into density. So if you're not willing to partner with source, meaning move most of your attention and focus into the energy grid that is inexhaustible, that is the universal energy matrix, and constantly bringing your focus and your intention back to that all the time, you're going to have a very, very difficult time. You're going to continue to have a difficult time with these energetics moving forward, because I have news for you folks, and I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but it's only going to get more intense. And it's only going to get more intense to the degree that we are in self-denial or self-deception about, I can't take this shit with me and go into 5D. You don't get to take all your wounding, your victimhood. I am who I am because of this trauma, drama, event, experience that keeps contracting my state of reality from love, from joy, from happiness, from fulfillment, from abundance. You cannot take that with you. So when we keep bringing our focus and attention back to this finite energy grid, which is the ego grid, which informs us falsely of who we are, right? And then all the beliefs, the thought systems, the structures that go along with that. If we keep bringing our focus and attention back to that energy grid, I guarantee you are going to be very uncomfortable going forward. And the intensity you feel right now, saddle in, strap in, because it's just going to be more of that. Does that make sense? So it's not that you are being challenged. It's not that you are being tested. The universe does not test you. It drives me crazy and makes me want to pull my hair out when I, see posts in our very loving and often informed spiritual community that say, the universe is testing us right now. No, 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 no. Never. The universe never tests you. That implies that the universe has judgment. The universe has no judgment. The universe has compassionate witness energy. And it is only and ever asking you to choose. Totally makes sense, Pamela says. So do you feel this? Let me ask you guys. Do you feel, if you drop in, let's just do this together right here. Just take a second. And this is how easy it is. And I'm going to really help you with this in the In Alignment 5-day class series, where we're going to drop in and we're going to look at 5 key areas of our life: our human soul connection, our soul purpose, which really needs a redefine and a redirect, because I think that's really misunderstood. And in this New Earth timeline, we really have to understand that our human and soul connection are in a handshake with each other, but we've just kind of been pulling back from that and denying that and living more from the human and pulling from a finite energy grid instead of the infinite energy grid. So we're going to shift that in this class. But we're going to look at our financial well-being too, because there are a whole host of new levels of insecurity around money, especially after this energetic reset of the last 12 to 18 months. Those of you who have struggled with money issues, financial well-being, financial independence before, your prosperity levels, even for just that, for getting in here and getting a reset on that, it's worth the price of this course. Because we have a treasure trove of new things to unpack with the New Earth timeline. We need to redirect our energy around money. So if your last 12 to 18 months has been particularly challenging for you, with levels of insecurity or security, your foundation, your safety and stability around money, if that's really shifted and not the best way, I really, really want to invite you to come to this program, because we need to shift that, okay? But also we're going to be looking at relationships, because this is something we really have to drop into and take a look at. We have to look at our source connection, our alignment with source through the filter of our relationships. We have to look at this alignment with source, the alignment with the new energetic earth grid through our soul purpose. We have to look at it, our alignment through the filter of our financial well-being. We have to look at this alignment with the New Earth timeline through the filter of our human and our soul, and how those work in tandem and inform each other, and in ways now that are much more profound than we've ever known on this planet before. If you come to this class and commit to this class, you are going to feel a shift, and probably a pretty big one. depending on the level of your commitment. I don't have any say-so or purview over how much you commit to when you say yes to a course with me. But if you commit and really want to drop in and anchor into this, it is going to shift you. You're going to come away with a new perspective and new tools. And in fact, I'm going to be, as a bonus, giving away a lot of tools from previous courses that I've taught, especially from my Wealth Consciousness Collective, which I think a few of you here have been in before. But let's drop in here for a second. Drop in to your stillness. I want you to drop in the sense that become aware of and honor right now, right here, the space you take up. And in fact, as you notice your breath and you just take a beat here, become very present. And as you feel into the breath in your chest and you feel this expansion, as your chest is rising and falling, as the trunk of your body expands as you take breath in and then contracts as you move breath out, become aware of the space that you take up. And I want you to honor and appreciate the space that you take up. Be with it. And when you do that, doesn't that feel more peaceful? Because here's the thing. When we go into this ego contracted state, and we go into all the fear of the unknown, because we are very, very much being invited to proceed with uncertainty. And that feels big, and it makes us contract. It makes us run home to mama, which is running home to the ego. Like, keep me safe, keep me safe. When we do this, we minimize ourselves emotionally and physically. Meaning, where I just invited you to take up space, I invited you to go into your soul's vantage point of your human. When you run home to mama and you go to that fear grid, the ego grid of the self, you contract and minimize your energy. It's not always on a conscious level, however. But whenever you go into fear in your thinking, start realizing that I'm trying to take up less space. Feel how you shrink into fear. And now put your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath in and out. And just go into that space and stillness. And say to yourself, maybe even out loud, I honor the space that I take up. Now feel how your energy feels. Now feel how your human feels nurtured. Why? Because you're working off a different energy grid. The shift is that quick. And because you are in full command of your energy at any given time, yes, you are. Stop playing the fucking victim. You are in full command of your energy every single moment, every single second. It's any belief that you've chosen to take part in. It's any thought system that you've decided to align with that takes you out of that truth. You are in full command of your energy, so take it. Empower yourself with it. Expand your energy and take up some motherfucking space. Pardon my French. See how even fears that are just at the top level of mind tend to become lesser than. They tend to fall away just a little bit, yes? How does that make you feel? Just that, microscopic shift can sometimes move mountains. And it really can if you allow yourself to stay in this energy. So my invitation to you is to use this as a tool. This is part of a very small kind of amuse-bouche or appetizer for what I'm going to share with you as a tool, and actually a few different tools in this 5-day class in alignment. But notice how you feel when you allow yourself to take up space. feel how maybe this feels a little more optimistic. How does that make you feel? Give me a word that describes that, or give me a heart if this makes you feel even a little bit better than when you got on this call. A lot of you are feeling gripped by fear right now. And as real as that feels, because your emotional state is giving you sensory feedback on that, and that's always going to be a very surface conscious level of mind. The conscious level of mind is only giving feedback on a sensory level, and it has the ability to observe and report. Your conscious mind really doesn't have the ability to change anything. It's just feedback. It's just observe and report. So when you allow your energy to expand and you honor the space that you take up, you are moving to a superconscious level. When you use the breath, you put your hands on your heart and you use this heart center as a transport vessel to this higher energetic energy grid. You can put yourself right there in that higher vantage point. You're in the place literally where the question and answer exist in the same instant. And if we're sourcing from this grid more and more, and it does take practice, because it's like having an energy band, a rubber band on your wrist, and constantly snapping yourself into attention to say, okay, working from the wrong grid. This has no ability to give me feedback, and it doesn't have an inexhaustible supply of resources to give me what I need in terms of solution, answers, a new path, a new way to go. My inner GPS is not connected to that ego self grid. Therefore, why do I keep sourcing that out? Out of familiarity, habituation, right? But it is that level of mind that's just observe and report feedback. There is no wealth of resources there to give you information about the unknown. And as we are being invited more and more to proceed with uncertainty into this new earth timeline, very much going into a new frontier and in the unknown, if we are sourcing from the wrong energy grid to get information, we're going to be stymied. We're going to be stonewalled every single time because there's no information there. There's no wisdom. There's only feedback on what is known. It's just going to give you more of who you've been. It's just going to be more of you reacting to situations, scenarios, events in the exact same way you have before. There are no new alternatives there. Okay? And if we hope to anchor this new earth timeline, looking at key areas of our life through the filter of this new earth timeline, our alignment to source through the infinite source energy grid, the universal energy matrix, if we're constantly bringing our focus and attention, snapping that rubber band on our wrist to be like, oh, wrong grid, go there. The answers you're looking for, the solutions to your issues and challenges, they are attached to that grid because that's the sphere of all possibilities. Does that make sense? How does that feel? How does that feel to even know that there is a place that I can go to where answers and solution-based energetics exist? How does that feel to even just know that, right? Incredible, right? It just feels like an unburdening. It feels like a weight off of your shoulders. It feels like you can take the heaviness of your ego and kind of put it on a shelf for a little bit while you're bringing your focus and attention to a grid that has resources, support, guidance. Your inner GPS, your intuitive acumen is all tethered to that grid. And it's just about dropping in and paying attention. It's about getting yourself in the habit of turning your attention and focus and energy to that. And it does take some practice. But the experience of this 5-day class, if you show up and commit to this, I'm going to get you into a place where it feels less like work and more like, this is who I truly am. This is This is so aligned. It feels so good. It feels so right. It makes perfect sense. Who wants that? I do. And so that's why I feel really inspired to bring this forth. So this is really going to be an amazing 5-day experience. And I'm offering it through, it's going to be May 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th. We're going to have a little break in between because I teach a class on that Thursday. And the investment is only $222. I wanted to keep this investment low, but you're going to get so much information and support and wisdom and downloads too, because you're going to be connecting to the universal energy matrix and who you are through your soul connection to a grid of infinite resources. So you're going to get divine downloads. You're going to tap into source in perhaps ways that you haven't before. There are going to be revelations and epiphanies about how to anchor the New Earth timeline for you through 5 key areas of your life. We're going to help redefine and refine soul purpose, because I think that there's a mismatched energetic here, and soul purpose is still being talked about in the finite terms and systems of the old Earth grid. It's time to reframe that. In fact, it's time to reframe a lot of different things. So this is going to be an action-packed 5 days. If you feel really aligned with this and you want to get in further alignment, please come and join me in this program. Because here's the thing about alignment. I know it's a buzzword. It gets thrown around a lot in the spiritual community. But I think sometimes not everyone really understands what that is or how to do it. And we have a fresh set of eyes now to look at where we are, who we desire to be on the stage of this New Earth timeline. If we're not in alignment, meaning we don't jibe vibrationally with these new energetics, how do we hope to not only anchor but stabilize them so that we can keep growth and expansion and flow states happening? Otherwise, it's just going to be more contraction. It's going to be more minimizing. It's going to be more of questioning from our ego self, which doesn't have the ability to give you the answers you're looking for with these new energetics. It just doesn't. Your ego has no feedback on the unknown. It can only observe and report, give you feedback on who you've been. And who you've been has been informative, meaning it allowed you to get here to where you're going. But it kind of stops there, because everything is now. If you keep moving back to your personal identity now in the face and on the stage of these new energetics of the New Earth timeline, and you keep identifying yourself as who you've been and what you've been able to do, what you've been able to accomplish with the resources that you've had, etc., you're going to pull yourself further and further away from that New Earth timeline. You're going to pull yourself further away from growth. You're going to stick yourself in a consciousness loop where the same set of experiences, events, the same kind of people keep showing up. And you are kind of doomed to the same reaction state that you've been before. So what is it really doing for you to keep pulling from that energy grid that has an exhaustive supply of energy and just more of the same? I'm tired of more of the same. I don't know about you guys, but I am done. And I've committed in a lot of ways to up level, and with a serious amount of commitment and dedication to myself, because that has to happen first before you can have a serious and committed dedication to raising the energetics of the planet. It starts here, folks. There is no collective without the individual. Our individual efforts matter. Cleaning up our own stuff, cleaning out the old debris of who we've been in light of an ego self framing of who we are, that's not going to get you where you're going. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you guys come and join me, because it's going to be very, 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 very exciting. May 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th, 5 days. We're going to meet at 1 p.m. Pacific time for the program In Alignment. There's going to be bonuses, lots of resources, tools, journaling prompts. Things are really going to help you shift your energy in a really profound way. If you're feeling the call to this, especially if you feel like you're coming at something new, a new project, but it's like the same old you coming at new stuff, you really want to get in this program, because we're going to help to shift a lot of energy out and bring in the new energetics in the way where we can stabilize this as a new foundation and grow from that, flow from that, be in alignment with that. So I'll put the link down below, and lots of love and peace to you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.